time for our regular Asia View slot on the programme. We take stock of events across Asia, and our correspondent Yena Lee is joining us now from Beijing. Yena, you're going to start with the inauguration of Taiwan's new president. We mentioned it earlier on the news. We mentioned it a few times on the programme today. What does Beijing think of him, though?
Well, one top Chinese official called Lai Ching-te the destroyer of cross-strait peace just before his election in 2024. Lai and his party, the DPP, emphasized Taiwan's sovereignty, and this infuriates Beijing. Leaders here accuse them as being pro-independence and thus pro-secessionist. Lai did once describe himself as a pragmatic worker for Taiwan independence, and though he has since backtracked, he has toned down his rhetoric, and he officially calls for maintaining the status quo between China and Taiwan. Well, this is that one sentence that Beijing has neither forgiven nor forgotten. The state-run tabloid, for example, the Global Times, published an editorial ahead of his own inauguration that ends with a rather ominous quote. It says that if Lai insists on making irresponsible secessionist moves, the PLA is always ready.
Another big story coming out of China as well, Yena. This is Beijing's sweeping measures to bail out the ailing property market. What are these plans then?
Well, Vice Premier He Lifeng said that local governments should buy unsold homes and transform them into social housing. The People's Bank of China has earmarked the equivalent of $42 billion for this, but this is far short of the money that's required to absorb all the empty homes, particularly as municipal governments here, many of them are in debt. They're struggling after spending sprees linked to the pandemic and also linked to investments into infrastructure projects. So Chinese authorities are also trying to encourage people, families and couples to buy property themselves. They also announced interest rate cuts and lowered the minimum down payment requirement. So investors and observers are going to be analysing in the next days. Is this enough? Is this too much? Is this too little? Is this too late? For Chinese state media, though, they're hailing the moves as unprecedented ground shaking, and they're defending the timing as well, saying that now is an appropriate moment because they've had much time to research and do some deliberation.
And finally, Yena, we're going to change gears a little bit, aren't we? Chinese citizens, they're debating whether or not the railway service should allow pets on trains. It's a major issue, this, isn't it?
Yes, Stuart, the National Railway Company launched a survey earlier on this month, and it's led to some heated discussions online on whether or not we should be allowing our furry friends on China's vast high-speed rail network. If so, should they be in separate carriages? What types of animals should we be accepting on board? The company now says they'll be taking into account everybody's opinions, and they'll be deliberating on this a little later. This lively discussion, though, does really illustrate changing societal attitudes in China. Raising pets was for decades criticized as bourgeois behavior, and Beijing's municipality, for example, only tolerated pet dogs since 1994 and relaxed stringent rules against them in 2003. In recent years, though, pet ownership has boomed in China. There are 130 million pets in 2016, and that went up to 220 million in 2022. Safe to say, Stuart, that right now China has the world's largest pet population.
We're seeing some very cute animals at the moment, which makes you think, yes, of course. But the most important thing is how well behaved they are, I think. Anyway, Yena, thanks very much. Yena Lee joining us there from Beijing with this week's Asia View. Thanks very much.